Man, oh man. Now this was a good episode of Supergirl. And I might be biased because of what it was about, but man, it was a good episode. So it was Supergirl's turn. I don't correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I think this was after the whole Black Lives Matter movement and the recent police shootings and stuff. I think every show in the Arrowverse basically had a episode where like Batwoman did it, Superman and Lois did it. Everybody had a turn, basically having an episode that dealt with even Black Lightning. Of course, Black Lightning did it. They all had a turn at having an episode or a couple episodes based off of what was going on in today's world and society. And like I said, I don't know for sure if this was Supergirl's the first time of this season doing it, but this episode was basically heavily political. I wouldn't say it was, but in the right way, not in a bad way, but it was heavily political and agenda message sending, and we're gonna get into that. But I got almost. I'm so happy to talk to y'all about it. Welcome, YouTube world and YouTube tribe. Welcome, one and all. Let's get into it. This is Supergirl episode 12, season 6, episode 12, called Blind Spots, and this is one of those episodes where even the title has a meaning to it. That the title is even trying to tell you a little bit of what the episode was about. But here goes the actual synopsis. Kelly is horrified when the Orpheum building implodes, injuring many in the community. Kelly embraces her power and fully steps into her role as guardian. So, this episode does a whole in the present, then rewinds to show you something that you didn't know what happened. So remember how Kelly was missing for like then she was missing for the last episode and maybe the episode before that. She was missing, like she wasn't present when Nixie basically snapped her fingers and destroyed the building. It turns out she was, but it didn't come to fold until this episode. So basically, it started off with Nixie trying to figure out what was wrong and why she couldn't get power to find the totem. And she got the orb. She's like, "What's going on?" He was like, "No, we couldn't find it. Something went wrong, and I don't know what it was." And she's trying to figure it out. And it goes in on the orb, and then all of a sudden it starts rewinding back. And so it shows you everything that happened from the moment. It goes back all the way up to the moment where Supergirl said, she called Mr. I was about to say his full name, Mixie. She called Mixie, and then so him snap her finger, say to him, blah blah blah. It goes even past that to show that what happened that night while Supergirl was while Supergirl and Nixie was having a monologue. Man, I can't remember the names of the black guy and his brother, but the black guy who's an alien little brother, he was basically on the phone with Kelly with his friend. They was getting ready to go see their new spot and everything. He was so happy. He's so happy that he was going to have a place to finally stay and live. And Kelly was not really that far behind them. She was she was coming out of a store, and also the actress who plays Kelly, she also written this episode too. Just to throw that out there. I think they said this was her first in the Arrowverse universe. This was the first for it. I think they have plenty of actors who direct the episode, but I think they said this is the first time that an actor wrote the episode. So yeah, So Kelly basically she's at this store that's not too it look like it's about 5 minutes behind the kids. He's like cause where she was she could see the Ornfield building collapse as Nixley snapped her fingers and made it collapse. She could see it perfectly like it was only like a couple like it was down the street from in front of her. So she wasn't that far from the kids because she got there like maybe 2 or 3 minutes after it collapsed. So that means it just collapsed, and once everything settled, she just got there to help the kids because the building collapsed onto the kids and buried them. She ended up having the brother gets there. They rush the kids to the hospital because they called the ambulance and stuff. But he told her you called an ambulance? He said this is the Heights. He said he said they not an ambulance getting. He said by the time the ambulance get here, they all be dead, and everybody's gonna be dead. So they do what they can. They rush everybody to the hospital without waiting for the ambulance, and basically when they get there, is what you think. They don't have enough equipment. Everybody's it's so many people. You got people that's already on the tables, already in the rooms. They overstaff and they understaff and they occupied, and people just gotta wait to get seen until they can get seen. But the whole problem was the agenda of this episode was to show that even from every aspect, not just superheroes, but regular people as well. They don't see the current problem that's in front of them so bad that they're gonna actually lose people because they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that, and doesn't see that. Hey, stop and help me real quick because these people are going to die. So Kelly basically the brother suggested Kelly that she get Supergirl involved. So Kelly's tried to call Alex. Supergirl was busy, but Alex was able to help some. She was able to get some more respirators and hospital equipment sent to the hospital. But it was, even though it was a small good gesture, it still wasn't enough. Because then even though she did that, Alex too was consumed with trying to find Nixley, and two, she would eventually she start to not pay attention. So, she's begging, she's trying to get everybody to help, begging for, and she don't know what to do. So she calls Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't pick up right away, but she leaves a message for him, and I think she left him. It sounds like she left a message for him, and she cries basically because she doesn't know what to do, and she's tired of fighting this fight. And what fight she's talking about was the fight of getting people to notice black people in particular. This episode was like I said, was very racial oriented. So she was tired of fighting the fight, and she cried and broke down. So when she in doing so, Jimmy is basically is alluded to thanks to the person who I'm about to talk about next. She gets a knock at the door, and she opens the door and see that it is none other than John Diggle. John informs her that Jimmy sent him in his place, and they figure she would listen to John more than she would listen to Jimmy. I think because they connection of them both serving in the military, both John and Kelly. So basically, John's the only person hearing her, and it's a specific reason why they get to that. So they go with John and Toad. They go and tell them what's going on, or what's going on with the people, and they hear. And for all intents and purposes, Supergirl don't hear her, but they don't truly hear her, but they hear her. So they think whatever's happening with the people. With the people that Kelly is talking about would be it's got something to do with the affected debris of fifth dimensional energy. There was a scene I did leave out. I almost forgot. Before this though, while Kelly was still at the hospital, what led her to have that breakdown, what she called Jenny, that politician lady, I forgot what her name was already. But she basically was there from the previous episode, who has been a thorn in both Supergirl and Kelly's side. She was there. She was also one of the people that was there and affected by the fifth dimensional energy. But because she was getting special, because she's a politician and know how to get special treatment, she made it seem like she was going to help them and basically not take a bed from cut in line, take a bed from somebody who really needs it because she's not really that injured. So, but she says she's going to help, but then she just leaves. We cut to her being in the hospital bed, and she's basically demanding like this experimental drug that would help with what's going on with her. And they said they like, man, we really suggest not using that because this drug is still in the experimental phase, it's still in the trial phases. It could be side effects and unforeseen side effects and consequences. But she basically threatens the hospital with not getting them the grant that they want, that grant approved and all that type of stuff. Basically she's not going to give it to them unless they agree to give her the drug. So they give her the drug, she adjusts herself, and if something happens to her that like they warn her to, but not in a bad way, like where it made her explode and die, but if something happened to her that turns her into the villain of the day episode type thing, and she basically gains the fifth dimensional abilities. But unlike the fifth dimensional imps who could just conjure stuff out the way, Brainy figures out that she became like a siphon, but that happens later in the episode. So Kelly and John goes investigating. They go to investigating the site to try to figure out what's going on, what's making the people sick, and they end up noticing this area underneath this door that's glowing blue. So they go investigate it, and Supergirl and them gets there because they realize that's the area that got they on their own trying to investigate Nixley. They see that on the scanners that same area of the what's this called, the Orfield building. It was still radiating with fifth dimensional energy. So they get there, they trying to figure out what Kelly is doing here, and they see Kelly and John. They like, wait, what are you two doing here? And they said this. They informed them that it did something from here is making the people sick at the hospital that was caught in the radius of the fallout from the building. So they figured that it had something to do with the fifth dimensional energy, and they was right about what was causing it. The part of the problem was the fact that the people was affected by fifth dimensional energy, and they theorized that cleaning up, getting all the affected debris and stuff with fifth dimensional energy would basically clear it all up and fix the people at the hospital. So at this point, Kelly's like, okay, so they did listen to me, and they go back. They try to investigate. They get all the debris, but then they notice something is still wrong. The people at the hospital are still getting sick, and Kelly is trying to tell them that, but this is where they interrupt. They do the cliche interrupt. I gotta go. I promise that once we get this cleared up, the people will get better type stuff. Like they basically brush it off as that they just got to get the stuff and the people get better, but not realize they're not hearing her saying they're not getting better, and you don't realize you already got the stuff here and cleaned it up, so they should have been got better, but they're getting worse. So Kelly and John still trying to investigate. They finally come upon why the people are getting worse. They figure out that the politician lady has powers, and that every time she uses her power, she's siphoning off the energy, and not just the energy of the fifth dimension. Because when she siphons off that fifth dimensional energy, it also takes away their life force. And when she does that, that's why the people are getting worse, because they're getting too weak to fight off what's making them ill. And Kelly, they go after John and Kelly go after her because Nia I forgot to say that when Kelly told them this, they had like these devices that could trap fifth dimensional energy, and Nia that she was trying Kelly was trying to warn them that something else might be in play that they missed, but they pretty sure that they got everything, they didn't miss nothing. But Nia had the foresight to be like, you know what, take my device, because you're probably right, we probably did miss something. So they, that device led them to the politician lady and realized she's highly radiated with fifth dimensional energy. They realized she's the one who's causing the problems. So they try, even the dude, they try to tell the dude that too, the brother, and he goes out there and like corners her and doing the interview, and basically try to tell her that she's not doing nothing, and that she's the problem with what's going on in the Heights. And Kelly and John gives chase, and they have a fight, but she gets away not before Kelly could grab a piece of her hair. So Kelly gets back to the watchtower, and she basically gives them the piece of the hair and tells them that they did miss something. It was Kelly telling them it was the politician lady, and she's off the charts radiated with fifth dimensional energy, and we believe she had something to do with it. And they was like, they take it. They said they gonna stop. They gonna stop her. All this type of stuff. But then Kelly, what they were saying, Kelly wasn't agreeing. So she just rips into them. She stops everybody in their tracks, and she rips into them about how they don't even notice that she just had a fight with the person that was causing the people in the Heights to die, and got away, and they all they worry about is Mixley and Nixley. She said, I understand that you guys are basically looking to stop her, but y'all preparing for a future battle where there's one right in front of you don't see it. And this is when the title of the episode comes into play, because she has a deep conversation with Supergirl. But she rips into them and she tells them, you might have seen the preview clip or a clip of it. They do have a clip of that scene. I think it's like a featurette scene where when she talks about how good it was to write the episode. But they show a clip of that scene where she's basically ripping into them and saying how she's tired of people overlooking people that look like her, people that's like her, that needs help, the people that the system fails, and that even superheroes are failing them, because you guys too don't even see that. If for one, you don't have no leads on Nixley. Can you please take a minute to address this issue instead of worrying about something that might happen tomorrow? Because the people who are struggling today are not going to make it to tomorrow if you continue to focus on Nixley. So now everybody feeling guilty because they didn't realize what Kelly was going through, and they give her space. And I think John talked to her. Then talked to her, like asking her what was really going on, and she was telling him like how she's tired of fighting this particular fight, and she wants to get she don't know what to do, and he tells her like to use that to he mentioned Oliver, to how Oliver was a big picture kind of guy, but he would hardly listen, or he needed proof of what John was saying, of the little fight. So after John talked, she talked to Supergirl, and this is where blind spots come in. The reason why the episode was called Blind Spots because Kelly was telling Supergirl how you have to realize, because Supergirl's like, I didn't understand like why I didn't see this, because when Captain Liberty was going after aliens and stuff, I was gung ho, I was ready to fight for the people, for aliens and all aliens, rights and stuff. And she was like, Kelly says, because that resonated with you, because you're an alien, that triggered you into doing something. The reason why you wasn't triggered to help me, and the reason why you didn't see this is because you're not me. You don't look like me. You don't know the struggle. Alien struggles. You don't know the struggle it is to be a black woman or a black man in this world. So that's why you missed it. And she said some days you will have blind spots. but the thing that you need to do to help me make this better is to hear me when I tell you something is wrong and back me up and help me, not just brush it off thinking that the other problem could solve this problem. When I tell you and that from now on, she basically telling, because she was asking, Kelly, how can she help? How can she make this better? How can she be better so that this don't happen no more? And she said, and that's what Kelly was saying about blind spots. You gotta basically listen to when I tell you that you got blind spots, because they're going to be blind spots that you don't see because you don't resonate. So the rest of this episode basically goes into Kelly becoming guardian, and basically they don't have to happen to really having to go into it and stop. And there's a little caveat with Nixley at the end, but overall this episode gets a big 10 out of 10 big ups, because this was a well balanced episode between superheroism, the being the traditional Arrowverse superhero ism, a nice balance of political stuff too. It wasn't the political stuff wasn't overbearing, and it fit the narrative of the episode. It fit because this episode exposed how even in the comic book world there's systemic racism. There's racism to every person. They already explored this in one way or another, but they explored it from a superhero's perspective of looking how there's not a lot of superheroes that look like us on the streets, and how we don't where's the superhero that look like us that get what we going through, that will fight for us, not just for all of us who need saving from a supervillain, but what about us that just need saving from an evil politician who is gritty and hungry for power? Where's the people that's going to save us from a corrupt cop or lawyer or judge like that? We need heroes too in that aspect as well. We need you heroes to not only see those big problems, but see the little tiny problems that can become big problems in the end. And this episode does a very good job of balancing all that. But like I said, this was a very heavy political Black Lives Matter like movement type episode, and this was Supergirl's episode to do it. I enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments down below if you agree with the political views of this episode. What was your thoughts on the episode itself? What was your thoughts on this message? Let me know in the comment down below. And if you enjoy this episode, then hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my reviews. And if you truly enjoy the episode and you want to support the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become part of the fam and the tribe members, and hit that notification button so you get notified when I drop videos like these. And as always, hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content, but don't go nowhere because I got Stargirl coming up next. Peace.